the last one standing with all this jungle focus.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is there's so many champions banned out here in the jungle, but Graves somehow finds his way through. This will be 3 games in a row of Graves today. Graves has been so strong in the meta, it seems like whatever happens around him, he's still dead man walking and causing a problem for every jungler. Finds itself, unfortunately, on the enemy team. He'll be up against a Lucian and a Lillia. Over here on the side of Cloud9, Blaber on the Bambi pick, seeing what he can do on this one. This champion can be such a terror, especially if your team's ahead. The ability to go fishing for picks with the bowling balls, so effective.
And if you can start out a game with a level 1 Lillia Raptor invade, super common, and then your Lucian is mid, Perkz Lucian mid plus Blaber Lillia off of level 1 successful invade, that can be the first 5-6 minutes of your entire game in your control if Cloud9 can set up these super aggressive early picks up for success at the very beginning. Meanwhile, though, Syndra comes in. This is one of the common answers if the Lucian did go mid lane because she's so good at bursting him down. We will see here, though, they keep up the aggression with the Leona pick, looking to have ways to force if they do have the successful Lillia plus Lucian combination early on. They want to be able to snowball that, and you get the extra range and long range here from Leona to make sure if you get your early advantage, you can push it through to actually finishing out the game.
I love engage support metas. It is so much more compelling than enchanters spamming there with ardent sensors for a long time. So every time Leona gets locked in, man, an angel gets its wings. I love seeing this champion on the Rift. Kaisa, Syndra, Leona, all locked in here. I've seen plenty of Kaisa here today. Going to be seeing a little bit more of her right about now. Let's see where the bans are going. Alistar banned out by Cloud9. Evil Geniuses getting rid of Samira. They saw a little bit of what happened with it there in game number 2. They don't want to be seeing that here in their own game.
And Samira just kind of extends CC as well, and they don't want any more of that. Seeing when you have an early Lucian pick like that, you know that's going to be one of your solo lanes that isn't going to bring crowd control. So C9 probably are going to get another form somewhere else, and they take out one of those possibilities. But these engage supports for the bottom side, I like both Set and Alistar bans, 2 of the most popular and most effective, at getting that from the melee perspective. Thresh is still available, very good option as well versus the Leona. Flay could be very, very effective.
All right, last ban of the game. What's it going to be, Evil Geniuses? Aphelios banned away. Ooh, look at this hover. Oh, my goodness. Okay. In his first game in North America, there is a significant chance that we will get to see Perkz on Yone. You don't get any better than that.
I am so excited for Yone. I'm going to talk to a bunch of people about the possibility of it showing up because the offensive capability is there in spades for this champion. They recently changed the crit, so you get 100% crit off just the 2 items. So you can either go with the early Gale Force or Shield Bow into Infinity Edge with a lot of damage there. Gale Force for the extra move speed or movement ability, or Shield Bow for the safety. Renekton and Blitzcrank both break shields, though, with these 2 lock-ins. So that might actually influence your item build, and it would definitely lose some value on a shield bow if they lock both those in.
Well, remember that Renekton often doesn't get that part of his empowered W because usually you open up the fight with it, so a little bit harder to get the shield break on him. Blitzes can apply more easily, but there is no Blitzcrank. No, it is Galio instead, locked in for Evil Geniuses. Let's see how Cloud9 wants to end this here. Fudge talking his smack on Twitter. He will be up against Renekton in the top lane for this game. He'll be piloting the Ornn into it.
And it is going to be rotated to a bottom lane Lucian, so we don't get our solo lane Lucian here. And they lock in Fudge. What better champion after a bunch of trash talking to prove your point than Ornn, Flowers?
True. You got to be able to play the Ornn. He's always a staple in competitive play. He's always relevant in team fights with that big ulti. And especially when you look at the enemy team, there's no Braum, there's no Yasuo, there's none of those things that can just shut down the ulti super easily. So plenty of engage power here on the side of Cloud9. And remember that Yone is such a scary champion. Because his damage is perfectly split between physical and magical. Itemizing defensively against him is incredibly difficult. His E allows him to just jump back out as soon as he goes in. It is very difficult. Remember that if you're trying to time your CC on Yone to blow him up before he's able to snap back to his position, if he is CC'd while the timer on his E runs out, sorry, he's not CC'd anymore. He's going home. He's done with this party. He called his Uber. He's going home. Nothing you can do about it. It's what makes it so incredibly powerful. If the player knows how to properly time Soul Unbound to make it so there's no real risk when they go in, Yone just has so many tools to mitigate his opponent's options to have any counterplay to him. He's so strong.
I will say that the weakness is then trying to attack Yone early on because the E is so good offensively, and yet defensively does have the drawbacks because, again, your soul always has to return to your body here. So if you apply some jungle pressure there, especially with a champion like Syndra, where you do have possible stun setups, if Graves comes through with a smoke bomb, that makes it very easy to land your Syndra stuns, and that's going to be that Cloud9, Perkz, and Blaber do have to think about. But again, with the swap here of the Lucian into the bottom lane into the hands of Zven, you get your classic Lucian Leona bottom lane, kill lane, looking for those possibilities onto Deftly and Ignar, which is a new combination of players, and Deftly might be the player on EG that got the most criticism when the roster was announced. A lot of eyes on him. Ignar, known for roaming so much, he might be left alone quite a lot. I do like Galio in this meta of so many engaged supports on bottom side. Galio does a very good job of peeling those because you're AoE with your taunt. You can try and get them both off. Plus, you have multiple forms of CC with your Justice Punch coming in as well. And we'll see if Ignar can protect Deftly in this scenario.
All right, keep your eyes on Yone throughout this game. Everyone's so excited to see Perkz' NA debut, and he couldn't have made it more fun for all those fans than by picking a champion that's so flashy, that has so much outplay potential and mechanical skill expression like Yone does. Sidestepping a couple of those ranged attacks early from Jiizuke here. Also starting off with Dorian's shield, having the fleet footwork. He's going to make sure that he can stay in this lane for as long as possible as a melee champion into a ranged matchup. And we'll just sort of see how this one's going. Naturally, you'll get pushed in early on as melee versus ranged. His Lillia has already cleared everything from the top half of the jungle here. Jiizuke landing the Scatter the Weak on that one. And junglers will be finishing up their clears on opposite sides of Summoner Grid.
Yeah, Perkz doing a good job so far, dodging almost all the spheres from Jiizuke, who has run himself in mid lane, trying to push in and force Perkz to miss some CS. Doesn't line many of that harass. But topside, Impact going to do the same. So Jiizuke and Impact both pushing up their solo lanes to allow Svenskeren a full topside control. The aggressive play there from Syndra for Jiizuke, trying to use all your charges and push the wave in so that you can get your recall off and refill all of your charges, refill your mana pool here after getting to a decent amount of CS. That does open up topside here.
Topside, Fudge getting himself all the way back. 7-24 farm, and they are giving him quite the welcome party here to the LCS competition.
Who you calling brainless?
I heard you talking some trash. Let's see how much we're going to hear you talking when you're stuck back in the base at level 3. So much farm, EXP and money denied there from that roam up from Svenskeren. Perkz goes in trading very aggressively onto Jiizuke, takes off 2/3 of his HP.
Yep, when that extra damage comes in on the E, definitely going to feel the sting for that trade, and Svenskeren tries to cut the trade short, coming in for the smoke bomb. This is, again, a split map because, they did have top versus bottom. Deep wards already from Vulcan and Blaber. You see on your screen, Perkz knows to hub to that other side of the map. Vulcan makes his way through, finishes off the rotation, but he's caught now.
Oh, they're going in. Svenskeren is stuck. He might just be killed off. Perkz looking to go even further, now falling back a little bit, goes underneath the enemy turret. Perkz will not quite get the kill, but the Ignite will do it. And in his first game in the LCS, Perkz will get first blood. Vulcan trying to walk away and escape the counterattack, but he cannot do so, and Jiizuke gets one in return.
Yep, counter kill here for Jiizuke. Not going to let them have the last laugh, and they do stay very competitive in gold with the counter kill going over Perkz. High enough health now that he can actually stay at this tower and get a few more of the CS, so they don't even get the extra advantage of shoving it in. Ignar's coming back, though, to try and zone him off.
Ignar trying to just give a little bit of extra control here to Jiizuke. Make sure they get this wave shoved up into the turret. Perkz using the Soul Unbound to move up, push those minions out just a little bit here and still be able to return safely. Scout of the Week finds him. Perkz still at 300 HP, but Jiizuke is very low on mana here. He doesn't actually have a lot of resources to work with. He'll continue to just poke Perkz a little bit. Vulcan's still hanging around just in case Jiizuke gets really aggro. Jiizuke has his flash, but remember there's no Ignite here on the Syndra.
And it's going to continue to be those aggressive lanes here for EG. Let's take another look at it. So Blaber was kind of trailing on a delayed attempt towards mid, and you see Ignar headed up from bottom, so that's why they went all in. Perkz then, with the E, flashes over to try and get Svenskeren, whiffs a little bit, but since he has the Ignite, as you said, finishes it off, and then Vulcan tries to walk back through for a re-engage. That is just miscommunication. He had an open route through the river towards bottom side, but turned around, and neither Blaber nor Perkz were looking for the re-engage. So maybe a bit of an issue here with the comms for Cloud9 on that re-engage after they had successfully gotten the first blood. Successful kill.
And you can see a pretty big EXP lead in the jungle for Blaber over Svenskeren. Already level 6 here on the Lillia. We know what Lillia can do once she has that ulti ready to go. So much playmaking from so far away. Sven going to face check this brush here, finds Svenskeren waiting. Now it's a 3v2 in the bottom lane. Evil Geniuses looking to go in here, but Perkz is coming around from the side, and Blaber's going to be doing the same. There comes the sleep, and it finds its way onto the enemy AD carry. Perkz trying to go all the way in here, looking for the extra damage on to Deftly, finds a little bit more, but will not get enough. Jiizuke now rotating into the fight as well. Drops the ulti with 5 orbs onto Perkz. Claims half of his health bar with that one. Perkz grabbing the honey fruit there. Smite onto the scuttle crab. Flash away from Jiizuke, trying to dodge that swirl seed from Blaber. Honestly, Jiizuke just sticking around a little bit too long there in that river.
Yeah, that's definitely a punishable flash now. If he's unable to create more pressure towards mid side and keep Perkz locked in here, not having flash with how many skirmishes we've had around mid lane, I definitely expect return visits for Blaber here. And Lillia actually has some low effort possibility of influencing that matchup. Throwing swirl seeds themselves from pretty far away can actually force a lot as well. But Jiizuke has to continue playing aggressively. He's pushing up the wave once again as impact goes down to try and deny some more CS and harass Perkz under tower.
EG coming in trying to make some sort of a play here. Perkz has to go back to his soul point. This is what you were talking about, Kobe. That's what's punishable about Soul Unbound. He must return to the origin point, and as soon as he does, EG does the 3-man collapse to blow him up.
And it only takes under 8 minutes in the lockout tournament, and already Perkz' tweet of "I'm not gonna die, the entire lockout tournament is false." He goes down at the hands of the evil Geniuses, and they make sure of it and get the extra gold with that dive as well. Again, impact on the top side of the map is the reason. He's been creating so much pressure here on the Renekton versus Fudge. Earned himself a roam timer, pushing in constantly and harassing Fudge over and over to be able to head towards mid and force that dive, plus using his flash for his effort as well.
Jungle CS 68-46. You don't often see Graves get outpaced so hard, but right now it's Blaber controlling the tempo in the jungle. Svenskeren and Impact stepping up here, and we might have ourselves a full-on 2v2 smite fight over this Rift Herald. No, we won't. Perkz rotating over, making sure he can help his boys secure that objective. Shouldn't be any sort of a contest for that one. Blaber will pick it up. And since he's getting that at 9 minutes, it means it'll last until 13. So no matter when he summons it, they will be able to get bonus plate money with that Shelly charge. Nice neutral objective take there from C9.
And we're approaching the stage in the game where we really get to see the fireworks of this champ select and the intended use of both sides of the compositions here. Cloud9 with such a heavy dive comp, with Ornn plus Leona engaged, trying to pin people down for follow-up multi-person sleeps from Blaber and a Yone plus Lucian deep dive on carries. Meanwhile, counter-engage of the Galio and Syndra are going to have to be used so effectively for EG to be able to navigate these later dragon fights and these fights when the towers start to go down and there's more room for them to be able to come out on ahead on this, because Cloud9 are going to be looking very aggressively over and over with this super long range engage. Ornn roams down through with an ultimate to land slows. Leona easily can land those from extremely far away as well, and that's why we're paying so close attention to the flashes on the carries for EG.
Lots of EG presence around the mid lane right now. Svenskeren's passing through here yet again. Ignar also hanging out in the wings. He could not join with a heroic entrance if a fight broke out, though. Still only level 5 here for both supports in this game. Back up into the top lane. Fudge trading a little bit with Impact, but not winning out in those trades by any means, as Perkz uses the Soul Unbound, snaps back to his original position, uses the Fate Seal to get away, and will manage to live through it.
Yeah, Jiizuke with trying to do a little bit of predictive use right there, because Yone doesn't have to wait the full duration to snap back, and was trying to get him with a little bit of predictive stun. It was definitely too early. You can try and wait until you get a little bit of a visual cue if you can see him towards the end, but there's a sleep that lands.
All right, fight starting out. Ignar grabbing a taunt onto 2, but the real threat is on Svenskeren. Sven grabbing the kill on that one as the Ornn ulti comes through, charging into the mid lane. Ignar gets knocked up by that one, but nobody else is close enough. Deftly continuing now on the run, but Bambi is flying like a bat out of hell and sending Kaisa straight there on a one-way ticket. Blaber picks up the 3rd kill of the game for Cloud9.
And now it should be Cloud9 just turning that pressure up to 10. Again, so many forms of long-range engage. They get it there. Blaber lands the double sleep, and Vulcan has an easy time lining up that solar flare into the culling from Zven for these river kills and the first dragon of the game. Now that you've got this tipping point, with the extra Cloud9 kills coming in, plus the first dragon for themselves, they really can start to use this time advantage to get the deeper wards around this bottom part of the map. They've been seeding topside with this Ornn matchup intentionally with Renekton up there in order to gain so much more here for the team comp and for the bottom side. So you already see a deep ward left on Raptors, as well as the rest of the river taking control of.
First Drake was pretty slow this time around. Compared to the previous couple of games, only 11 minutes when they finally got it. So soul stacking, even if you go 4 for 0, that one's going to be delayed here for a little while. Still a super close game in terms of the gold amount. What is that, 300 gold separating the two squads here? So Evil Geniuses was up to a small lead there for a while, but after the last series of events, it's Cloud9 back in the driver's seat. You can see the individual gold on your screen right now. 800 lead for the Renekton in the top lane. Fudge losing out in that matchup 1v1. Not a whole lot of influence there aside from the early on level 3 pushing completely out of the lane from Svenskeren. But hey, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of jungle intervention to set the tone and the pace. And Perkz just gets hit with the ulti yet again. Jiizuke will not find the kill, but he will send his opponent home.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job keeping up that pressure on mid lane for EG. Rift Trail used here really, really deep by Cloud9 in their own territory. Blaber once again finding a multi-man sleep onto 2. Ignar trying to block, save a little bit of time here. Zven exhausted, still getting the culling off to the side, but Deftly has now approached, looking to take him down. Svenskeren grabbing the kill onto Blaber. Locked down on the enemy jungler. Svenskeren is dead. Zven getting himself away from Deftly. Vulcan on the run from Impact, who's in the Dominus, looking to chase them down. Fudge is now also here, looking to see if maybe he can facilitate some sort of a turnaround here for the rest of his team. The Plasma procs. Fudge continues moving forward. Impact going to turn right back around, grabbing the kill onto Zven, who overcommits. But now Perkz has arrived into the fight, and he's looking to make some plays. Fudge grabs the kill into Impact. There goes your fate sealed. Perkz with the ulti onto 2, flashing forward and slashing around and making sure that nobody from Evil Geniuses is getting away from this one. Galio ulti coming in, keeping Jiizuke alive. Perkz sticking around a little bit too long, taunted up and beaten down. The winds of war are blowing, and Perkz finds himself in the ground yet again.
Good moves coming out here from Evil Geniuses.
Surprise! Ignar is back up, and that Galio ult is still available. Able to turn it around. Perkz, that was not the thing he was looking for. Ult comes back down, and Jiizuke, even with that tiny bit of mana, finishes it off. Both these teams came to play, Flowers, came ready to scrap. And I'm definitely enjoying this one. It was Blaber starting it out, which looked like this two-person sleep. It got a flash, plus it got Ignar doing the counter engage. That's why there was no extra damage done to the two carries that were slept by Blaber because of that knock-up and that sacrifice by Galio. Then you had the re-engage here. Bottom side, Deftly actually wins out in the 1v1 versus Zven. Neither of them was quite sure who was going to get that last hit, so it was very tentative there. But then Zven chasing onto Impact, dashes forward, and he still has the slice ready for Impact, so he's able to get that single kill back and Deftly flashes to pick up the extra one. You think at this point, Perkz with the double ultimate should be able to chase them back down since he does have flash. But there it is on your mini-map. You can see the Galio slowly heading over, and they're able to turn it right back around. Almost no mana left for him, but they finish it out with a couple of extra autos.
That Winds of War was just perfect, because if Perkz walked over and did auto Q on Jiizuke, he would have died there. So the timing could not have been more clutch. Ignar showing up, keeping this game close. Easily our closest day of the game, Kobe. Evil Geniuses looking good here, going up against one of the rosters that everyone was expecting the most from in Cloud9. But Evil Geniuses guaranteeing that it's not just going to be an easy win for them. As Fudge, half HP underneath the top lane turret, using the ulti there, knocking Jiizuke up into the air, charging forward as Svenskeren shows up too, and there's no way Jiizuke is going to drop in that one. 4-man effort. As you can also see, Ignar had rotated up to the fight just in case. Evil Geniuses will tie this game up in kills at 7-7. And they'll look to tie it up in turrets as well by taking down the tier 1, and that's got us at a dead even match.
And I want to say especially from the part of Jiizuke here, because Evil Geniuses, a lot of people have trouble kind of pinning them down and pinning them into a single evaluation because there's so much variance in the play from so many of these players. And we really thought Jiizuke was for sure going to have his hands full with Perkz in mid lane, but he has been playing so aggressively on this Syndra, keeping up that pressure and being able to utilize his teammates' zoning very well to go deathless, as well as opening up some possibilities there for EG, as they did take down the top side, plus using Rift-Herald mid is going to be their answer for the Dragon for Cloud9. And as you said previously, it's not going to be a super early Dragon Soul stack because of how late the first one was taken, so they do have time getting some gold from the outer towers.
Even if Cloud9 is able to grab the next 2 Drakes, it'll still be sometime around 27, 28 minutes before that soul would become active. So plenty of time for Evil Geniuses to craft a strategy before then. Infernal Soul is a very powerful one, especially with how much wombo combo and CC damage there is on Cloud9. If they get an Infernal Soul on top of that, it'll just be extra special deadly. Gore Drinker completed for Impact. Another Vamp Scepter in the inventory for even more sustain. We all know what Gore Drinker does. Anybody that has played a game in preseason or at the start of Season 11 here knows how powerful this item can be if the user is not afflicted with grievous wounds, and even if they are, if you're in the middle of 5 people, you're still getting a big chunk of a heal. So checking on the enemy's team right now, no grievous wounds aside from Bramble Vest, but remember, Bramble Vest does not have the extra added capability of applying grievous wounds through CC. That's only the completed Thornmail. So as long as Impact has not attacked Fudge in the last 3 seconds before he uses his Gore Drinker, he's getting full healing value in the middle of a team fight, and it'll essentially give him 2 health bars.
And let's just take a quick second to talk about how easy it is to get grievous wounds now, because we've seen so many.
800 gold.
Yeah, and it's even a little bit more nuanced than that, because I've seen so many people complain about how much healing there is in the game, but if you also look at the stats that's afforded to you by one of those 800 gold items, either Executioners or the Orb, and you subtract the stats that are on it, the gold value of the attack damage or the ability power, for Executioners, you're actually only spending 270 gold or 75 gold for that Grievous effect itself, and it's even cheaper on the orb. Only 148 gold actually goes towards buying the Grievous Wounds effect, and you get ability power for the rest of the 800 gold that you're spending on the actual item itself. So you just need the slot, and you need to have that initial down payment. But it's a very, very effective stat to buy with how much healing there is through Spell Vamp or Omni Vamp as well as Lifesteal in the game, in addition, of course, to the champion abilities.
You heard it here. Kobe says buy Grievous Wounds. If your opponent's got a Gore Drinker, Blade of the Ruin King, Renekton, you probably need to have an Oblivion Orb or an Executioner's Calling. Still none of those present here on the enemy team right now. Perkz going for a QSS second item after the Immortal Shield Bow first item being completed. So going very defensive here, making sure he can't just get blown up in the middle of a fight. And honestly, I like the QSS choice, considering they've got Renekton and Galio and Syndra that can all start it up with a CC and then the rest can follow. You need to be able to break that chain at some point or you're just dead on a squishy melee like what Yone is. Looks like EG might be able to secure their next tier 1 turret here, but at the same time, it's Cloud9 pushing up the mid lane, wanting to do the same. And there you go. EG will complete the outer ring. 3 tier 1 turrets down now as Impact tries to defend the tier 1 mid.
And with the big commitment for EG towards bottom side of the map to get that outer tower for themselves, they do leave open on the top side here. Cloud9 get a bit of a counter push, minions on top side, blue buff steal away here for Blaber. But really, this game is building towards these big mid-game team fights where we have multiple forms of super long, hard engage, long-range hard engage for Cloud9, and the counters here from EG. So I'm definitely excited to see the positioning they open it up with. Vision for EG is going to be very big because they're the ones that have to, have their flashes ready for Jiizuke, for Deftly, and be ready to deal with the insane onslaught of CC that does come through. We've seen multiple instances of this already for Cloud9. The sleeps into Leona ultimate, into culling, taking someone down very early. And we haven't even seen a super effective use of the Ornn ultimate on top of that quite yet. So we'll see how EG can actually deal with that because everything is setting up for this. 35 seconds left on the Dragon. Infernal, as you said, and it's definitely a very powerful soul.
Look at the summoner spells ready to go. Here's a hint, it's all of them. This fight should turn into an absolute bloodbath. I'm expecting it to end in an ace one way or the other. Let's see how that way is going to go. Ignar initiating, only finding the taunt now onto the front line. Meanwhile, Impact going into the back. You can see Blaber diving in, but he immediately gets himself killed. Shotgun versus a deer. What'd you think was going to happen? Cloud9 now trying to fight back from a 4v5 deficit, but the enemy top laner is nearly dead. Impact will have a very difficult time even getting in range to use the Gore Drinker at that health threshold. So a pretty even fight here between the two sides. Definitely not an ace, pretty far from it. But Evil Geniuses gets control over the river, and they will stop Cloud9's soul stack.
And that was so much Impact team fighting. I mean, this was one of the big signings of the offseason as well that was just kind of overshadowed by a lot of the other ones that had these big price tags attached to them. But Impact Renekton gets in, perfect spot for the Galio ultimate there. As soon as Ignar is able to cast that, they section off Blaber, zone him back into the rest of the team, pick up the kill and the objective for themselves. And the tension continues to rise, Flowers.
Oh man, Evil Geniuses winning themselves a fight, still up 1,500 gold, still a super close match. But I am really liking what we're seeing out of this squad so far, especially up against such a tough opponent like Cloud9. Taking a look at the inventories, seeing what's being pieced together here. A lot of champions about to complete that second full item. Renekton kind of the only one that already has 2 of them fully completed. But everyone else soon to be catching up. Blaber with that Zhonya's Hourglass to hopefully prevent some more situations like the one that happened in that river fight. And we'll see where they want to fight next. No Drake for 4 minutes. Baron is currently live on the table, but considering the risk it would take from either squad to even start it up, I don't see anybody going for it super soon.
And I think EG do have a bit of an upper hand here at the current map state because of Impact's ability to actually be one of the ones that gets to push sideways. He can take on any of the split pushers from Cloud9. The only thing he has to worry about is the roams from a Leona or an Ornn, super long range engage, turning it into multi-person operations. And if you balance that with spread pressure from the rest of the team, dissuading Cloud9 from collapsing with multiple people, it should give EG the upper hand as far as trying to manipulate the minion waves to get the pressure on their side. That being said, again, the fearsome engage is always there. And if you've got the deeper wards on the side of EG, they have so far been able to navigate it.
Okay, Crocodile versus Samurai. What do we got? Well, couldn't even finish asking the question. I could not put the punctuation mark at the end of the sentence before Perkz was already dead. 2-3-1 now here on the Yone, and Impact is flexing those top lane muscles. And I like what you pointed out. This is a pretty big acquisition, getting Impact. If you didn't have an offseason that also included huge transfers from other regions like Perkz and Sword Art, this would have been making headlines. This would have been on the Reddit threads. This would have been what people were posting about on Twitter. But it just so happens that A-tier news doesn't seem like that huge of a deal when there's multiple sources of S-tier news also happening at the same time. But Impact is looking as on point as ever here in this first game.
Yeah, and honestly, with the performance of him combined with Jiizuke performing really well and aggressively on this Syndra, EG are having a great debut game here. We even look down here, Deftly does have Gale Force plus Collector combination for Kaisa, still looking for the third there. But the possibilities we've already seen enacted as Impact continues to push up the side lane, then move in with that control. He's been trying to keep the deeper wards through that area of the jungle, and especially with the Infernal Rift taking down some of the walls, it makes it even easier, opening up some more of those escape paths and mobility for him.
Man, I love Infernal Rift. It is my favorite rift out of all of them because it gets rid of all the stupid walls that the champions with dashes can get away from Skarner.
Those cheaters.
This is, yeah, using terrain is cheating. Less terrain. Just make up all big, flat Summoner's Rift. It's just a big, empty plane that you can walk across and there's barren.
With spires all over it.
Yeah,
that's
the whole thing's covered in one giant spire. That's the dream right there. But the dream here for EG is to be able to continue building this lead and closing out this game. They're going to see the enemy team checking some of their wards here now. Still waiting in this brush, just seeing if somebody will step a little bit too close. Cloud9 has both AD carry and jungler hanging around in this area as Perkz and Vulcan are pushing out that wave there on the top side. C9 still with only one turret compared to the 3 of EG. Needs to try to get a little bit more in terms of the objective department, close in that goal gap a bit. Perkz using Soul Unbound to move forward, get the auto attacks down onto the turret, jumps back immediately, and the turret still stands.
Yeah, that was an off-screen flash from Jiizuke that was forced by Vulcan's Leona ultimate from the brush. Little bit of a brush camp you could see on the mini-map from Perkz and Vulcan. So a very high-value summoner blown with a low cooldown Leona ultimate. And you just have to wait for Leona ultimates to come right back up. Again, like we talked about earlier, we're keeping very close track of the carry flashes here for EG. Because of the comp that Cloud9 are running here with such a dive-heavy focus, that is going to be one that both teams are keeping in mind here for the setup. As Perkz goes in for round number 2 with the tower. No Jiizuke around here to protect it.
Second time's the charm. Perkz got that sucker this time, and he's going to make sure that his team keeps this game as close as possible until they got something else to fight over here. We got the Infernal Drake alive for the second time this game, but he's quickly going to die again. These poor Drakes are just getting bullied all day long. Spawned, died immediately. Drake's tied up 2-2, and with Evil Geniuses now stacking those Infernal Drakes, the damage is real. When you've got a Renekton in the top lane, Graves in the jungle, so much damage here on this composition to be multiplying with those Infernal bonuses feels really good for this to be the soul.
It definitely does for EG. I think they're in a super good position here. And it's interesting, too, because I'll just wait for Perkz trying to get some revenge on Impact. He doesn't get the crab, does get a small scratch onto the alligator.
Yeah, he stabbed him like twice.
Gotcha.
Like, all right,
that's revenge for the 100% to 0 that he suffered inside his own jungle with the blue buff. Got him.
One of these is not like the other.
I was going to start talking about, though, the EG interviews that they've been doing have been quite interesting as Impact goes for another round.
Impact initiating, saving the stun after Perkz has already used the QSS. Perkz forced to use the ultimate defensively. Fudge using his to try to keep his mid laner alive as well. Impact committing the dominance, but they chase Perkz away. He'll have to go back and heal. Fudge now without an ult means that Evil Geniuses feel safer invading the enemy jungle, knowing they can't be punished by that huge AoE engage. They're going to move in, steal some of these wolves away here, and continue pushing up, pressuring now onto the tier 2 and bottom.
Yeah, more effective use here from EG, using their strongest point, like we talked about, the Renekton side lane here, backed up by a Galio ultimate. Basically forcing down, getting a brute force secondary tower kill here on the other side, and opening up a longer area for Impact to try and work with. Now, again, they just have to retreat, wait for Galio ultimate, but Zven dashes already.
Oh, Zven flashing away just in time. Impact looking to flash on top of him. Get that point and click stun would have sealed his fate. But the reaction times are good enough to get Zven out of there. Another turret falling. 5-2 the turret count this game, Kobe. And it's a 3,500 gold lead for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, the slow, methodical use here. They gain the advantage bottom side with Impact, force the return from Perkz with the extra Galio ultimate, and then even though they send Perkz topside for Cloud9 to try and counter and push on that top wave, he doesn't get there nearly as quickly, and it's 2-for-0 EG reaping some rewards, getting those towers down. And you can see that Cloud9 are so defensive right now with all of their vision being spent in their red quadrant to try and protect around the Baron, so they know that they've got an area to walk up and check it and try and continue to keep vision of the Baron, which would be what blows the game wide open for EG. But the rest of the map had kind of been taken over there by Evil Geniuses with all their split pushing efforts, as you can see. Thank you, observers. Both teams' points of view. It's basically just that one quadrant for Cloud9 on the top side. Here we go, though.
That one zone. Evil Genius is backing away now. Zven dashing forward, playing aggressively around here. The rest of the team moving up, clearing out some of that vision. Fudge knocking down the control ward off to the side there, giving him a better opportunity to make an engage or a follow-up if someone else is able to find that engage. Blaber not hitting a mark here with the Swirl Seed. So Evil Geniuses get away from that one without any sort of punishment. Only turret left standing outside of the Cloud9 base is that tier 2 in the top lane. And you can see Jiizuke in position, pushing that one out, but then immediately backing up to rejoin with the rest of the team, not putting himself in danger. And this is what I was talking about before the game, Kobe. This is what I said I wanted to see from Evil Geniuses and Jiizuke in particular. Not doing this YOLO crap where you just run around by yourself and nobody else knows what you're doing and you're just split pushing the whole time, but playing to your strengths of roaming around and setting things up while also playing with the rest of the team and getting back when you need to. Deftly and Perkz in a 1v1. Perkz going for the knockup, but the stasis is there and Perkz is down. Enemy mid laner already out of the picture. That should be a green light for Evil Geniuses to look for even more. Dominus coming out here from Impact, but he doesn't want to go in any further. Zven dropping the culling, making sure they have an escape route. Impact stays in the front line, and Evil Geniuses is backing away into the northern Cloud9 jungle yet again.
And let's see, they do have a decent turn for EG because Syndra stunned, super long range, and it's ultimate available for Jiizuke, so he can pop somebody.
And there it is. Blaber forced into the stasis here yet again. Vulcan having to back away now too. Ignar with the flash, keeping himself alive. Vulcan can't say the same. He is down. Fudge stunned up. Scatter the Weak doing just that. Fudge does get away with the flash. Cloud9, although they lose their support, they have kept Evil Geniuses occupied long enough to prevent them from doing any sort of a Baron attempt. But the Drake is alive here in 15 seconds. Evil Geniuses have secured the last two, and they'll look to do the same here with this one. Ignar had to go back to the base. He has no summoners. He has no ultimate. He will have to walk it all the way back to this bottom side river, but it doesn't look like that's any concern of anyone's, as Evil Geniuses will take their third Drake in a row uncontested.
It's looking so good for this EG squad now. With all the hype around the off-season pickups for Cloud9, it is big plays from Impact. It is Jiizuke silencing a lot of the question marks that were around him from last split. And they were definitely valid. I mean, we showed the stat sheet from the summer split. A lot of 10th places there for him, but magnificent so far, and he's got his Zonias for himself. So in addition to all these summoner spells we've been tracking for the carries, and EG have done a good job waiting until that flashes back up. They now have QSS on the Graves, Zonas for Jiizuke himself with Syndra, and then of course Deftly did take cleanse from the very beginning of the game, and Kaisa well positioned and scales so well towards end game stages because of her mobility, and now having the cleanse flash available means that they have a lot of options.
And definitely got huge value out of his stopwatch in that 1v1 against Perkz, getting Perkz to commit the ultimate offensively and then dodging it with stasis, making sure Perkz would die. And now you have another stopwatch, this time on Impact, that he'll be able to use to dive into the team fight with impunity, set himself up to just be super aggro in the middle of one of these big fights. Because now with a 4,500 gold lead, with themselves being at soul point and only needing one additional Drake, it only really takes one big fight for EG, and this game can get to the point where it's not easily or feasibly recoverable anymore for Cloud9.
It's definitely a possibility, especially if they continue to control vision the way they have for EG. Syndra stuns late game are so difficult to deal with because of the range there, and Cloud9 don't have a lot of great vision checking tools. I mean, they're constantly throwing seeds here from Blaber, but everybody else feels so risky about it. And look how quickly they can burn through it too.
Baron down to half HP. Cloud9 approaching means EG backs away. They do not want to risk any sort of a foolish throw on a 50-50 or some other silliness. Instead, it's Vulcan initiating the fight, and now we're going to be starting it up. Impact in the middle of 4, looking to find the damage onto Blaber, blowing him up with the health with Deftly. Perkz versus Jiizuke in a 1v1 in the top half of the river. Perkz is going to win out on that one, but Cloud9 has lost the 4v4. It's a 1-for-1 overall thanks to Perkz winning that 1v1 up there away from the rest of the fight. EG cannot re-engage now. You can see there, a flash attempt from Impact doesn't find the mark as Sven's able to get away from that one without using his own flash this time. And EG will just continue to shove that mid-wave out and back away.
In the end, kind of a draw there, as I was trying to watch both ends of the two fights. The 1v1 with Perkz and Jiizuke on top side closely while the team fight is going on. And Jiizuke was able to get his ult off and then flash away, but the extra shield comes in big for Perkz, allowing him to win that one, even though C9 lost the main fight in the center of the screen, down by Baron, dropping off Blaber and removing the smite possibilities. That going 1-for-1 just means we're in store for another one. And the most important part after that is the big cooldowns that were blown during it in the 1v1, both Jiizuke and Perkz, but also that attempt by Impact to flash at the end to get the extra kill on Zven, who also had flash and didn't even have to use it, just dashes away, could be so big. Late game mobility for Renekton is what hinders him in these team fights. That's why people are always talking about him falling off so hard late game, is because it gets difficult for him to navigate in the team fights. And when Renekton is really good, it's because of a lot of the item builds. He does have a lot of sustain, with the extra lifesteal as well as the shield. But if you don't have that mobility, an extra threat of a flash, you lose out on so much in the late game.
Look at the damage from Impact, man. As soon as he jumps in on Perkz, he takes out half his HP. Zven is back up here. Impact gets away. Of course, it might be difficult to navigate a team fight there, only having your little lizard leap.
But a 1v1.
Somebody. But in a 1v1 where you got a minion wave, lizard leap is more than enough to get on top of the dude and start doing some damage. Now you got your engage coming out from Ignar. Perkz wisely using the ulti to buffer through the CC and get himself away.
All right, again, keeping that Baron clean too. EG continue to clear it out, forcing Cloud9 to come check once again. Positioning looking like it's going to be very similar to last time here. Jiizuke, no flash, remember now, on the Syndra, and still pretty long cooldown as well for the Zhonya's.
Swirl Seed found a couple of EG players, but now it's not going to matter. Engage coming in from Ignar. Blaber getting himself away. Culling, fired off by Zven into the entirety of the Evil Geniuses roster. Stopped that engage before it even begins in earnest. Evil Geniuses really wanted to make a play there. They know that this Drake is about to spawn. They know that it means soul if they're able to grab it. But now it's Cloud9 who have control over the river. It's Cloud9 with priority over that pit. It's Cloud9 whose mid laner might be in a very compromised position. Fudge stuck away from the rest of the fight. Still might be able to summon up the ulti to use it here. Already used it, didn't work out so hot. Lillia now using the sleep to keep these guys occupied. Drake has been started. Svenskeren on the back side of the pit. Could get involved and try to steal. No, he could not. Perkz going over the wall. Perkz with the damage. Perkz with the kill. Drake secured by Cloud9. It is a 3-3 Drake count now, as Svenskeren is the only casualty of the fight.
Oh, another stun!
Oh, the stun's coming out though. Vulcan trying to get himself away, thrown up into the air, taunted down now. Big three-man taunt coming out from Ignar, but Vulcan somehow lives and Ignar will not. Vulcan has got got to be sweating on that one as Impact comes in from behind the fight. He finds the kill onto the enemy AD carry, and he's looking for even more on the jungler now. Deftly goes on a rampage as Perkz goes too far deep into the tier 1 turret. He's taken down right there. Evil Geniuses, they had a bad fight at the start, but Cloud9 overstays their welcome, and EG is able to turn it right back around.
That savior teleport from Impact in the back to be able to pick up those extra kills. It was so frustrating for EG watching these low health members get away, but then because of the teleport for Impact, they get the extra kills. Now 3 for Cloud9 are available, getting right back out towards the Baron. EG taking a lot of damage from Baron too, and Thinkwise
this ain't gonna work. Impact's even flashing the dabbing penguin. He knows that plan's a little bit scuffed. They don't want nothing to do with that. Cloud9 back out on the map. We have 3 minutes and 41 seconds to go, Kobe. As soon as that next Drake is down, somebody's getting the Infernal Soul, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be explosive, this team fight. Everybody will have their ults right back up, and it is going to be Jiizuke. Perkz will have his as well for a possible big Yone play. So we have to keep our eyes once again if they go for this 1v1. Currently, very little vision too up around the Baron area, as EG have just constantly returned to this area, sweeping it clean over and over and over, trying to force Cloud9 into their hands so that they can effectively use their Galio ultimates, getting one of their melee members in there.
Evil Geniuses. They've been around this 5K gold lead for so long now. Things have sort of paused in terms of how far ahead this team has been able to find themselves. They've still not taken down that tier 2 turret in the top lane yet either, so objective control hasn't gone their way in a while. Fudge losing a quarter of his HP, but not really much else. I mean, yeah, that's an Ornn. Yeah, he was walking in the way of some of the damage, but you're still not going to be able to kill him too effectively here. Perkz approaching from the side, goes for the ulti, immediately taunted up. CC coming out. Goodbye, Perkz, or is it? Resurrection now coming through. Guardian Angel popping off. Where's the rest of the damage going to be? Perkz in some trouble getting away into the rest of the team, and there is Impact. There's your Gore Drinker. Somebody should have bought some grievous wounds. Impact makes a 1v4 move into the back line and picks up a couple. Evil Geniuses 5v3 on the map.
Another pick here for EG onto Perkz, starting it out, and they force them back through their own jungle. That's going to be Baron Flowers. That should be the breaking point, because this Baron will last until the Infernal Soul spawns. They can keep up the pressure, push on the top side of the map, set themselves up for a dream team fight scenario, or grab the Dragon Soul without Cloud9 trying to contest it if they decide to play it super defensively.
And Blaber even had grievous wounds right there. I'm just now noticing the Oblivion Orb in his inventory. The green on it looked like the green on the shoe next to it. So I got a little bit confused. But look, the power of Impact in this game. 4-1-9 on the Renekton, 13 out of 16 kill participation. This man is just an absolute monster in this game and is the difference maker in how so many of these fights are playing out.
And this is Cloud9 on their force. It's Leona into Perkz. Before this, we saw the Leona ultimate is what caused them to try and go for Perkz' big multi-person Yasuo play, but he doesn't get it just with the tip, as EG kited out really well and then re-engaged. Definitely went right in onto it. They're constantly pressuring this Yone. There's your Impact. Yeah, he escapes away from the rest of the team, but right into Impact's waiting arms, who, with 4 people around him, boom, this is why people go. Gore Drinker Sterix builds like this, pops right back up.
It's so strong.
Yeah, is able to fight off 4 people, and that is all in collaboration with the Galio ult. And this should not be understated, is the effect of Ignar's Galio ultimates. Does blast going over there, but doesn't want to follow it up, or maybe didn't have taunt ready. Meanwhile, another 1v1.
Well, we've got ourselves 10 seconds before the Infernal Soul spawns, Mr. Kobe. 10 seconds, and EG controls the entirety of the map with a 7,000 gold lead. Ultimates are available for every player right now except Ignar, but they're not too worried about it. Infernal Soul with 4 Infernal Drakes claimed by Evil Geniuses. That is so much offensive power.
And they continue to push in. Now, they have such a good range advantage, with Syndra constantly threatening a lot of these stuns through the side. Swirl Seed's pretty easily dodged here by EG. With the added benefit of Baron, they can play it a lot slower. You see they actually sent Jiizuke on recall back to push on top side and split their Baron pressure. Ignar now as well going for the full reset, so EG actually going to let it time out. Only 27 seconds left on it, so it would have only been one more wave of pressure that they actually get. They get to hold over the buff for the rest of the game. Infernal Soul, the extra damage that they need to finish out that burst.
So good. Let's see how Evil Geniuses want to use the rest of this Baron buff. It is about to run out. We'll see how much more they can get. This tier 2 turret up here could be their spot, as Impact's now having to fight up against Vulcan. Diving back line. Meanwhile, back in the top lane, Deftly going dominating, able to take down Perkz. One dead on the side of Cloud9. Everybody's still alive here for Evil Geniuses. Damage coming through. Deftly going in. Deftly on the Kaisa is just racking up a whole bunch of bodies here. The man is popping off, and it's a 19-10 game with Impact teleporting into the mid lane to try to smash this inhibitor line.
Yeah, that might look like an end angle here even. Let's see, 30 seconds left on Perkz to recover, 45 plus here on Fudge and Zven. They're going to go for it. This is EG looking for that victory.
Evil Geniuses, one inhibitor turret down, inhibitor to follow. Now going straight for the jugular. They have no interest in trying to play this slow, round it out, grab the rest of the inhibs. That don't matter. These are Evil Geniuses. And they've got the win taken here against Cloud9 with your Bud Light ace. EG came to play in 2021.
The old gods are falling already. Just day one, Flowers. TSM dropping 100 Thieves. Cloud9 now dropping to Evil Geniuses. And it has been exciting, too. Especially big props to Jiizuke. After the criticism from last split and the benching that happened, really, really big first game from him. And then Impact, what more can we say? We talked about a lot in game. That Renekton was a big part of it.
What more can we say? We can say, hey, Fudge, you better go delete that tweet. Because the top diff in this game was incredible. Impact made so many things happen in the fights, at the end of the fights, recovering with that flank where he killed Zven and then was able to take what looked like it might have been the EG throw and stabilize it. Honestly, Impact's presence in this game cannot be understated. Again, I was really impressed with what I saw from Jiizuke too, being able to play with the rest of the team and not just go off in his own world and sort of miss the same page and miss the calls with the rest of everybody else. I think this was a very promising first game for Evil Geniuses, especially when you consider they were up against Cloud9, one of the most hyped up, talked about teams of the entire offseason, and EG just put them off to a 0-1 start. Incredible stuff. We're going to take a break right now, but after that break, we will hear from Deftly, the amazing Kaisa himself, and the